what's happening? So I tell my students a very generalized, simplified approach to mindsets for practicing. In other words, we could make it more complex. We could interchange aspects of either of these, but this is a very good place to start. Okay, so when you're ready to practice, make a decision, and then mostly commit to it. I say mostly, and I'll explain why. So when you are ready to practice, make a decision. Am I practicing strictly to build skills today, or in this hour, or what have you? And if so, do that. Commit to really working hard, demanding everything you can of yourself, being very particular, and this all means also very emotionless, really, about the work that you're doing. Go in there and, if you're a guitarist, for instance, I'm going to work my scales slowly, evenly, checking the positioning of my fingers, demanding a little bit more of the technique that I'm using, etc., or the chord changes that I'm working through. I'm going to slow them down and work them, feeling the muscle memory in my hands improve as I do it. All, like I said, very emotionless, very technical work. So, in other words, you're focusing on just that, technical work, skill building only. That doesn't mean you're not working on songs. You probably are. But you're going through them and breaking them down extensively. Well, this section here, usually a bridge, for instance, is where people just fall apart. So you go in and you say, I'm going to spend extra time. I'm just going to work on this bridge today until I nail it, until I work through every little change. By the way, here's why people usually fall apart there. So you have in a song, typically, if we were to go very, very standard songwriting, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, chorus, end. All right. So what do we have repeating constantly? Verses and choruses, right? And then what comes up once? The bridge. So how do most people practice? I'm going to play this song 100 times until I have it. Okay, well, that's very diligent. That's good hard work, and really the worst way to go about it. Okay, and I think I've talked about this before. Practice doesn't make perfect. It's how you go about it. All right, so this is relating to that, digging in a little bit further. In fact, you go in and you work the part that you work on the least to bring that up to speed with the parts that you play the most. So if you were breaking down a song, in this case, the one I just described, you would work on the verse, you would work on the chorus, you would work on the bridge equally. All right. If you're a vocalist and you're doing this, same thing. From a melodic standpoint, you're working on the verse, you're working on the chorus, you're working on the bridge until you get each one of them nailed. But Phil, there's different lyrics on the other parts. Maybe the rhythms are different on those, yes, but there's a very standard structure. There are key notes, okay, that the phrases are structured around, and you want to get those. Any embellishment is, well, just that. And in fact, if you're anything of your own person, any kind of person of your own, those embellishments are going to be more up to you than up to the recording that you are covering the song from. Okay. In fact, that's how you make it authentic. That's how you make it your own. The embellishments are emotional embellishments. So we're not even doing those right now. Why? Because we're working on the technical aspect of it. But then as a vocalist, the other thing you should do is take the lyrics, write them out by hand, write the subtext under them. That is how they make you feel, or what you feel they are saying in truth. This helps you understand the story behind the song. It helps you interpret it on your own terms, and thereby what? Make it more your own. So those are some digging in a little bit deeper sort of, exercises you can do to further break down the song, to work out the skill building aspects of it. So those are examples, though. I've decided I'm going to work on the technical aspect of the music today, and those are some examples of what I can do to accomplish that as a vocalist or a guitarist. You can, adapt these to anything, really. The other mindset, performance mindset, goes like this. Okay, I'm going to practice. I'm going to do performance mindset. Here goes. Play the song, forget everything that you've been focusing on and working on from a technical skill building standpoint. Forget it all. If it's there, it's going to be there. If it's not, you're not going to get it by thinking about it right now. Is there a loose focus on where you're going with things? Of course there is. It's like, you're not thinking about the azimuth of the curve of the ball flying at you when you go to catch it or hit it with a bat. But you do still keep your eye on the ball, to give a mathematical example for whatever reason. So yes, there's still aspects of keep your eye on the ball. But we will only trip ourselves up if we're thinking, where do I go with this note? Is that right? I'm going to go flat. It's all going to fall apart. We don't want that. Come on. So take what you've got and run with it. Go into performance mode and just let the right brain drive and let the left brain just keep you from capsizing, okay? And see where you can go emotionally with it. Take all the risks. Just have a ball. So in other words, just perform the music. Play through the mistakes. That's the thing too. If you stumble in some spot, you don't stop. You just keep it going. You pretend you're on stage, because that's a skill you need as well. You think about where that microphone is. If you want, set up a microphone. You don't have to turn it on, but you can do that too. But then if you do that too, you better have been working on a skill building set of microphone technique. So you see how complicated it can get? So that's why I broke it down into two very basic mindsets. You're either skill building or you're in performance mode, both of which are very valid and very important kinds of practice. So there it is. Two mindsets for practicing. Pick one, commit to it. Oh, but what happens if I'm doing one and the other one keeps coming up and keeps catching my attention? Oh, well, that's called trusting your gut. Go that direction. If you're working on performance mode and you keep catching something that technically is frustrating you, don't let it distract you anymore. Go ahead. You are still practicing. You aren't on stage, So go ahead and go and stop. Switch over to skill building. Same thing. You're working on skill building and that sort of stuff, and something is emotionally appealing to you about this song, and you're like, ooh, I like where this is going, and you can't get yourself out of the need to go to performance mode, then switch over to performance mode. Be adaptable, trust your gut. However, don't use either of these things I just described as an excuse to not do the necessary work, or you're doing yourself a disservice. So, lastly, self-awareness. All right, have fun with it all. Peace.